hard to date after her divorce with Scottie Pippen. It's kind of hard. I thought it was going to be easier, to be honest with you. Scottie has a new 25-year-old younger version of Larsa. So now she wants her old thing back. She made her bed, so she got lay in it. She thought the grass was greener. She had this man down bad, so down bad that he started losing his mind. This man tried to turn into Future. He tried to turn into a hot boy himself. A lot of times women have a hard time differentiating attention from men who want to just sleep with them versus a guy who actually wants to build a family and commit to them. And they don't come to the realization until they throw it all away. You went from being a wife to a Hall of Fame NBA legend to being a Tatiana that was pumped and dumped by Future, by Malik Beasley, starting an OnlyFans account. In the words of Future, to the streets shall she go, to the streets shall she return, to the streets shall she remain. Once for the streets, always for the streets. She revealed that it's hard to date.
Pippen regrets divorce of Scottie. We talking about Larsa Pippen now. Larsa Pippen regrets divorce of Scottie Pippen. This cougar scumbag went back to the streets, went back to the dirt roads, and realized the grass wasn't green on the other side. She thought she could get another Scottie Pippen. Not at 48 with 4 kids. Your plastic surgeon is not a magician. We talking about Larsa Pippen now. Larsa Pippen regrets divorce of Scottie Pippen. This cougar scumbag went back to the streets, went back to the dirt roads, and realized the grass wasn't green on the other side. She thought she could get another Scottie Pippen. Not at 48 with 4 kids. Your plastic surgeon is not a magician. We talking about Larsa Pippen.
Spoke about how she had a great relationship with Scottie and hasn't found anybody like him since. I mean, who knew? I think we've all told Larsa that she wasn't going to find anybody like Scottie Pippen, and now she is admitting it to everybody. You know, Larsa has to understand, you're a woman in your 40s. You're getting up there. You really thought that with all the procedures you've had and being around the Kardashians and, you know, dating young NBA players that you will be able to find another man like Scottie. Because all these women think the grass is greener on the other side, but it isn't. Maybe this is why Scottie hasn't publicly spoken about his marriage as much as you have. Because in his mind, he feels like you're going to come back to him. He feels like you're going to come back to him. And if I was Scottie, why would you want this woman? This woman humiliated you in front of the world just so she could have a good time with Future, you know, and be in the public spotlight that she's always wanted. And I think that when you have middle-aged women like this who, you know, still think they have options like that, a lot of these women don't. Look at the women who divorce all these athletes, right? They're never able to get into another relationship with another man who had the same notoriety and money that they were with before. They usually end up dating down. That's usually what happens. And as I said before, Larsa's been out here. She's been looking. She ain't found it. She's not gonna find it. That's what a lot of these women don't understand. If you're with somebody that has all these things, right? Because you gotta remember, they really weren't broken up when she got with Future. She left Scottie to be with Future, right? And that's when Scottie filed for divorce. But when she came back to Scottie, that's when he called everything off and bought her a new ring. And then she proceeded to divorce him, but was staying with Scottie for a while after that. Even while she was dating Malik Beasley, she was living with Scottie. This is how much of a hold this woman has over this man, probably guilting him into all of this. This woman destroyed her own dating life. You see, when men saw what she did to Scottie, they really didn't want anything to do with her outside of a good time. And I think that Larsa has to understand that, you know, these guys are not going to take you seriously because they saw what you did to Scottie. So no, they're not going to take you seriously. So you're just going to be stuck with dating young NBA players if they want to deal with you anymore. They probably don't. Those DMs are probably drying up. She's doing the OnlyFans thing now. Listen, I don't know where she is in her life, but to me, I knew this would happen. I knew these regrets would happen. Because a lot of these women think that the grass is going to be green on the other side, and it never is. The grass is never green on the other side. And now she's experiencing that. So let's get into this article from People magazine. Larsa Pippen admitted she had a great relationship with Scottie Pippen and hasn't found a new partner that checks all the boxes like her ex-husband did. Larsa Pippen hasn't found what she's looking for. The Real Housewives of Miami star explained how no one she's dated has lived up to her ex-husband, Scottie Pippen, because they're not going to allow you to disrespect them the way that you disrespected Scottie. Scottie allowed this woman to walk all over him. In a conversation with Melissa Georgia on Display Podcast, Larsa, who's 48, gave an update on her dating life and where she stands with her ex. She says, I feel like I'm kind of mentally in a place of like I was married to a really famous guy that had all the physical traits she wanted. And that was really successful, that gave me 4 gorgeous kids, she said. So where the hell are you gonna find a guy that can like fill in? It doesn't have to be all of those, but like a few of those boxes. Why does she talk like a teenager? She added, it's kind of hard. I thought it was going to be easier. Look at that line. I thought it was going to be easier to be honest with you. See, that's what a lot of these women think. They always think it's going to be easier once she's out of the relationship with Scottie, because in her mind, Scottie Pippen was holding her back from being able to live the life that she wanted. This is why, see, her being around the Kardashians too much, I think, influenced her. Even though she's a grown woman, she makes her own decisions. She saw how they was going from famous guy to famous guy, and she thought, I could do that. But you've been with Scottie since the late 90s. You weren't in a relationship with a guy for a couple of years. You had children with this man. You had a family with this man. When you had your other face and body, you were with Scott.
I started Bright Star Care to provide a higher standard of care.
Scottie was holding you back. You thought you would have all these hot girl summers. You'd find another rich, famous guy that wants to marry you, and it never happens. It never happens. It's very rare that one of these pro athlete wives are able to find a man on the equal level as to her ex. It never happens. It never happens. And now she's finding it out. Now she has these regrets. I would not be surprised if she ends up back with Scottie. That's why Scottie never says anything about it. Scottie's too busy throwing Michael Jordan under the bus. Okay, Scottie got all this smoke for Michael Jordan, but none for the woman who humiliated him. Right? That's because he really wants to be with her, and he believes she's going to come back to him. I would never want to be that person. Never. Be somebody's last option. She's not going to be happy with you, bro. You might as well cut ties completely, unless it's about the kids, but never give her hope of having a relationship with you again. Larsa and Scottie, who's now 56, first married in 97, they finalized their divorce in December. 3 years after filing for the split, the ex-couple shares 4 children: Scottie Jr., Preston, Justin, and daughter Sophia. Of her future relationship goals, Larsa admitted that she may have to lower her standards Oh man, what do I hear from these heifers? I'm never lowering my standards. Wait till you get 48 and you get ran through and you're still alone. You're gonna do exactly what Larsa Pippen is gonna have to do, and that's lower her standards. And you know what's crazy? Lowering her standards is probably, the height, is probably, is he famous, right? Maybe she has to start dating men who aren't famous. That's the type of requirement she's going to have to lower. But at the end of the day, a lot of you heifers are going to have to change those standards one way or the other. No man with money and resources especially who may be equal to Scotty, maybe more, maybe not even famous, maybe just has a lot of money. He doesn't want a 48-year-old single mother, because that's basically what she is, especially the fact that she has still two minor children. She would be put in that single mother category. She ain't got nobody, okay? So no man is looking for that. And a lot of these women have to understand this. You're going to be like Larsa, and you're going to have to lower your standards, because nobody's looking for a 48-year-old woman who done been ran through. She done been with this guy in the industry, that guy. She broke up with her husband just so she can go deal with this other guy, cheated on her. You know what I'm saying? It's like she's made this situation worse for herself. This should be a cautionary tale for a lot of you Western women. The fact that she has to admit it out loud just shows you what she feels about herself and where she is. Once I started dating, I'm gonna have to come to the realization that I'm not gonna get it all. I had a great run. I had a great relationship, I was married for 23 years. While Larsa speaks highly of her former marriage, she hasn't really been totally positive when it comes to Scotty. Of course she hasn't. That's why this article is really hilarious to me. During a February episode of Real Housewives of Miami, Larsa says Scotty acts as the Punisher when they don't see eye to eye. But now she's praising him. He's the best thing that ever happened to her. But months ago, she was calling him the Punisher. She was blasting this guy. She claimed when a disagreement about their home arose, Scotty said Larsa would have to send Sophia to Los Angeles against her wishes. I was traumatized. Larsa said if he doesn't get his way, he punishes me. He's like the Punisher. Before their divorce filing in 2016, a pair of audio recordings from Larsa were released in which she called 911 to report Scotty being aggressive. At the time, Scotty's lawyer, Roberta, explained the recordings in a statement to People. Mr. Pippen is aware that some members of the press have obtained the 911 recordings recently made by Ms. Pippen. While those recordings speak for themselves, Ms. Pippen did not make any allegations of physical violence by Mr. Pippen, she said. Larsa was on a date with Marcus Jordan. A lot of people have been sending me this topic, and people are looking at the ages, right? She's 48, he's 31. He's the son of Michael Jordan, who was ex-teammate of her husband. That's the crazy thing about this whole thing, right? Is that Larsa Pippen for years was the wife of Scottie Pippen for amount of time while he was teammates with Marcus Jordan's dad when Marcus Jordan was a kid. And now she's on a date with him, man. I saw a weird comment about how this might be Scotty's way of getting back at Michael Jordan. How? This is not an L for Michael Jordan. If this is an L for him, she ended up divorcing him and living with him while she was dating other men. So no, this is not an L for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is probably chuckling at this, the fact that his son is now dating, because Scotty's been talking a lot of smack, if you look at it, dissing in his own way Michael Jordan. Only for Michael Jordan's son to now be dating his ex-wife, who I'm sure if Scotty had the opportunity, he would want to get back with Larsa. That's why he ain't with nobody, right? And Larsa knows this. She knows that.
Can fill in. It doesn't have to be all of those, but a few of those boxes. So she is struggling in these streets. But Scotty, on the other hand, Scotty has him a new younger version of Larsa Pippen. He has a new lady in his life. The thing is, men age like wine. Over time, as they get older, their income and status increases. A lot of women do not mind dating an older guy. Scotty has a new 25-year-old younger version of Larsa. So now she wants her old thing back. That is the reason she's even discussing their relationship. Seeing that he's moved on, he has a new, younger version of her. But this is all her karma. She made her bed, so she got lay in it. She caused all of this. She had Scotty wanting her back. He wanted to be with her, but she treated him like dirt. She thought she could do better. She thought she had better options. She thought the grass was greener. She had this man down bad, so down bad that he started losing his mind. This man tried to turn into Future. He tried to turn into a hot boy himself. Scotty's too old for all of this. You a Hall of Fame basketball NBA legend. Why all of a sudden you want to dread out? You want to have some braids? This man tried to turn into a hot boy to get his lady back because he thought that's what she likes. Obviously, she was with Future. But this is what love will do to you, especially when you're blindsided by heartbreak. So now in Larsa's case, she saw his new girlfriend, a younger version of her, and she finally came to the realization that the grass is not greener on the other side. As they say, you don't know